so it has been a week, right?
Right.
It's been a week. So we are officially racking the wine.
Yes.
That's the term.
So we're going from primary fermentation to secondary fermentation.
What's the difference?
Primary fermentation is very fast and vigorous because there's a abundance of sugars.
Mm-hmm.
Secondary is slower because there's already a pretty high alcohol content, so there's not much sugars left. So some of the yeast is dying off, others is still going.
So that's why it's bubbling really slow, right?
Yeah, it's bubbling a lot slower than what it was.
Let me see if I can zoom in on that so you can see that. Oh yeah. So it's just every once in a while doing its thing. It's not really even bubbling that much. There it goes, kind of. Okay.
So first step is to sanitize the next bucket it's going into. I like doing secondary fermentation in a bucket because I could get my arm down in there and clean it out. You can do them in a carboy, then you just got to get a brush in there to clean them out. So, to each his own.
Okay, so you already put your sanitizing stuff in that bucket, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Mixed up our one-step no-rinse sanitizer. So,
sorry, we have a button next to our dog's food bowls that I've been trying to train them on, and it says fill my bowl, and we just looked at each other because we just heard it go off, and that's the first time that she's done it on her own. So,
so you better go reward her by filling her bowl.
I'll be back. He's gonna keep this going.
So yeah, it's kind of a boring process right now, just running the sanitizer through the siphon and making sure everything's ready to receive the wine. So, move this guy out of my way for a second. Was she all proud of herself?
She was very proud of herself.
If only you had smell-o-vision. I don't know if you want to catch a...
I'm going to bring that over so you can see what's going on. So that is 1 week.
1 week.
Okay. So you kept going back and forth about if you're going to move the bag or not. What's your plan?
I do not plan on putting the bag in the second bucket, except for to squeeze all the juices out.
Okay. So if you watched our other video, you know that this bag had all of the seeds and skin, basically everything that, when we ran through the Sauce Master, everything that was separated from the juice, that's what's in that bag. So he did that basically because he figured there was still enough sugars in those things that the yeast could have fun with, that you might as well include it.
Alright, now we're going to siphon the wine off, trying to get the liquids to transfer, but leave the solids in this bucket to be discarded.
Physics is fun.
A little bit of solids coming through, but...
You have that in the first round. So this is so you can keep it off the bottom.
Yeah, that's keeping it up off the bottom to try to keep from picking up with so many solids, so... Now we just sit there and let it transfer. Maybe you'll be lucky and get a close-up view.
Maybe. Or you might not. You never know. Yeah, so that's what it looks like without that bag in there. And then you look really closely, you can kind of, he took it out, so never mind, you can't see that anymore. But it's flowing into this bucket here. And this is where it's gonna fill up. Basically, if you've ever been to a brewery or been to a distillery and done a tour or even a winery and done a tour, that's exactly what you're smelling right now. That's what we're smelling. So even with that bag, there was a ton of solids that were created by the yeast, right?
Right. So that is dead yeast and what the yeast created whenever they were doing the fermentation.
But as you can see, if you look closely, it is still bubbling. The yeast is still active, just not as active.
Yep, that's why they call this secondary fermentation. So we'll leave it sitting here until it finishes bubbling. Then we'll start the real racking process where we're trying to get all the solids out of it. So that can take anywhere from 6 to 12 months.
Yep.
Should be getting close to the end. Picking up more and more solids, which at this point we're just trying to get a bulk of the solids off. Doesn't have to be completely clean. Kind of that fine line between getting rid of the solids and then losing too much of the wine. So I don't know, an experienced person could probably tell me if I'm doing it right or wrong, but it's always worked before, so it can't be too wrong.
Your wine's pretty good. So which batch number is this at this point? 4?
I think this is our 4th go around.
We've got a little bit of a stockpile of blackberry wine too. It's kind of nice. We should open one of those today.
Go good with smoked ribs.
Mm-hmm.
And fresh cut salad.
Yep.
I don't know if the camera's picking it up from that distance, but you can see the solids going through there now. Oh, now we're just breaking the siphon. So that's all I'm going to transfer.
So that's what's not going.
That's what's not going, that foam and some solids. So, yeah. Probably about a half gallon or maybe a little more. I'd say we're down from what we started at 4.5 gallons to 4 or a little bit less.
Cool. So what do we do now?
Now, I'm going to pull this out. I re-sanitize the lid, slap the lid on it, and let it sit. Probably going to put my heating pad back on it, seed starting pad, just to keep it warm while it's still fermenting. And let it sit for 2 to 4 weeks until it kind of makes it through secondary fermentation. And that is the next step in the winemaking process. So 2 to 4 weeks, we'll be back and rack it into a glass carboy. But I think we'll probably end up adding that on the end of this film. So instead of waiting 2 to 4 weeks, you'll be waiting 2 to 4 seconds. Welcome back. Secondary fermentation has completed. So now it's time to start racking the wine into a clean vessel to start removing any kind of solids, because nobody likes floaties in their wine.
Nobody likes floaties in their wine.
Get the sanitizer mixed up. So it's going to be kind of awkward on which size containers to use, because we're going from 5 gallons into a 3 gallon, but the question is, are we going to get 3 gallons, 3.5 gallons, 4 gallons? We'll just have to see whenever we get it all racked across. So I've got a variety of jars set up for a variety of different scenarios.
And why is that we have to have all the different sizes?
Because we're poor and don't want to buy a bunch of big jars.
Well, there's that, but the real reason is you're not exactly sure how much because of you're gonna lose some.
Yes, we will definitely lose quite a bit to the solids. So that's the dead yeast and any of the solids from the blackberries settling out.
That we didn't
That did not get settled out on the first
go around.
go around from primary to secondary.
So it's been about a month, yeah?
Month,
About
maybe
maybe
6
6 weeks, yeah. But for you guys, it's been what, 10 minutes? Not even 10 seconds?
Yeah.
10 seconds? Yeah.
The reason we want to save as much wine as possible is not because we're greedy, but I'm going to rack this probably at least 4 more times, each time probably leaving a quart at the bottom, so I'll need a little bit extra each time to top it off. There's 2 ways you could do that. You could either use a already finished wine, or you could keep shrinking your vessel size so that way you don't have a bunch of air inside the vessel. Or you could do what I do and just have little batches going from your main batch and keep topping off your 3 gallon. Works for me. Is it right? Probably not, but I'm not a professional winemaker. Okay. Should be sufficient enough to have racking cane sanitized. I'm going to shake this around good, dump out a little bit that's left in it. Before I open that up, I'm going to do this step so I don't forget it. Sometimes do adding Camden tablets. Now that the fermentation is pretty much stopped, we want to add this to help create, I'm pretty sure it creates carbon dioxide to push the air out of the vessel so you don't end up with vinegar. Vinegar's good whenever you're trying to make it. That's not what I'm trying for. I've had the bucket sitting up here for about a week. That way, trying to let as much settle down to the bottom as possible.
That's strong.
Yeah, still got strong carbon dioxide smell. Use this clip to keep it off the bottom so that way we can try to transfer as few solids as possible. Still pretty sweet. It's probably got a little fermentation left to go.
That's sweet.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it's probably still got a little fermenting to go. There's still some sugars left in there. I don't think it's bad, but I like a sweet wine. I'm not a dry wine snob.
I'm okay with that. So basically, you're just gonna rack all this over and see what we end up with.
Basically.
Okay. So we'll see you in a little bit when this gets closer to the end.
Right, getting close to getting the 3-gallon carboy filled up. I don't think we're gonna quite fill this gallon jug, but I think it'll be close enough where I'll open another bottle that I've already made and top it off. So that way we have plenty as we continue the racking process. I don't know, it's looking lower than I thought it'd be.
Yeah, I don't know.
Maybe we ought to
Go with the
abort
half?
and go with the half-gallon.
Let's abort.
Abort mission and go with half-gallon.
Hail Mary. Not bad.
Yeah. Might fill that half-gallon. Should break the siphon here any second.
There we go. I'm glad we aborted mission.
Yeah.
Because that's all she wrote.
Yep, we'd have been way off on the gallon. Alright, so yeah, just put airlocks on them, set them in a spot, cover them up so the light doesn't get to them, and do an impatient person's favorite thing. Wait. Probably be about another 4 to 6 weeks, and then I'll rack it again to start trying to settle out more solids. I think that'll be it for this video. Drug this one on long enough. Probably end up racking the wine 3 to 4 times before bottling. So, yeah, be about another 4 to 6 months. Be put in a bottle. Then once you bottle it, you're supposed to let it set another 3 months. So, leave any comments, questions, or concerns down at the bottom. If you liked the video, give us a thumbs up. If you like what you're seeing, subscribe. Getting close to spring, so I can't wait to get out in the garden, start doing some stuff outside. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll catch you on the next one.